Assalamu alaikum, bachcho. We are just going to cover our chemistry syllabus, inshallah, starting from the basics so that you can easily revise your concepts, right? So we are going to start, I'm just going to share the topics which are there in our syllabus. So there are going to be 12 chapters and that they are going to be further divided into different objectives accordingly. So we'll just look into this topics first. So then you are just going to start the basics. I hope it's going to be fruitful for you. So these are the 12 topics which are to be covered to appear for your CI examinations, including May, June, or October, November. It's going to be even for IGCSE and O levels, right? The same topics are there, even the objectives as well, right? Starting from states of matter, then stoichiometry, atoms, elements, and compounds, in which we are going to discuss about the ionic compounds, right? Bonding, atomic structure, and all. Electrochemistry, chemical energetics, chemical reactions, in which we are going to discuss redox reactions, rate of reaction, reversible reactions, acids, bases, and salts, the periodic table, metals. Metals is going to be very, very easy. Chemistry of the environment, organic chemistry, experimental techniques, and chemical analysis. Let me tell you one thing about organic chemistry. It's going to be like you might have heard that it's going to be very difficult, but if you understood, so that's going to be the piece of cake, inshallah, right? So we're just going to start from the basics, we should know how are you going to write down the formula of an formula of the compounds, and also like how are you going to write on the equations, chemical equations, chemical symbols, writing ionic equations. So in today's class we're just going to cover up like about this idea, this topic, the basics of chemistry, right? Like writing chemical equations and formula writing. Okay, so because 2 to 3 marks question is again asked, and again it's going to be coordinated with other topics as well. Okay, so this here I'm just sharing the periodic table with you people, that you should know that in the periodic table the elements are shared according to the increasing order of their proton numbers, right? So there are the elements, and the element is a pure substance which contains only one type of atoms. We will also be discussing few of the definitions which are being asked, right? So element is a pure substance which contains only one type of atoms, or which have say number of electrons and protons, right? Now see here, we are going to say that the elements in the periodic table are arranged in according to their increasing order of their proton numbers, right? Like proton number of hydrogen is 1, then helium proton number is 2, and then lithium 3, 4, and so on, right? So elements in the periodic table are arranged in according to the increasing order of proton number, right? So there are going to be also, we could discuss, there are going to be 8 vertical columns which are known as groups, and there are going to be horizontal rows which are known as periods, right? So there are going to be 7 periods and 8 groups. Okay. The first period contains hydrogen and helium. This central block is known as transition metals, right? And these are also transition metals, right? So there are going to be 8 groups and 7 periods, right? Now, I'm just going to, ask you people that suppose examiner is asking you to write down the formula of sodium oxide. So how are you going to write on the formula of sodium oxide? So for that, you will be needing, acha, you know that the periodic table is given in two of the papers, like MCQs paper as well as that structured questions theory paper, right? It's not provided in ATP, but for that if there is anything regarding this, they are going to give us some information, right? Now I have to write down the formula of sodium oxide. So how I'm going to write down formula of sodium oxide? You will be needing the symbol of these elements, right? You will just move to the periodic table and you'll see that the sodium name, and then you will just see that the symbol of sodium is going to be Na. Write down Na, right? Oxide, you are just going to write down the symbol of oxygen as O, right? Let me tell you over here what is the difference in oxygen and oxide, right? So when oxygen is just going to be an atom, right? Which exists as diatomic molecule, or you can write down oxygen atom. And oxide is going to be an ion of oxygen, right? Whenever any non-metal ion is formed, you are going to use a suffix of "ide", right? For example, it's going to be nitride, chloride, bromide, iodide, sulfide, okay? So whenever it comes like "ite," a suffix of "ite" is used, means it's going to represent non-metal ion. All right. I hope it's clear. I'll also be assigning some questions for formula writing, so you could just do that. And then I'll proceed to the chemical equations, right? Now for sodium oxide, I said that you're going to write down the symbol of sodium as Na and oxygen as O, right? Then the next is to write down like sodium is in which group. So we will just look at the periodic table and you'll find out it's in group 1. So it loses 1 electrons to complete its octet, right? So I'm going to write down 1. Oxygen is going to be in group 6. So to complete its octet, it needs 2 electrons, right? So I'm going to write down 2 over oxygen. All right. Then what you have to do, you have to cross multiply these, right? So formula of sodium oxide will be Na2O. Okay. I hope it is clear. Similarly, if I ask you that what is the formula of magnesium chloride? So again, you will be writing the symbols of these elements and then you're going to cross multiply. So like you can say that the symbol of magnesium is Mg and symbol of chlorine is Cl. I'm going to write down like magnesium is in group 2, so I'm going to write down 2 over it. Chlorine is in group 7, so it gains 1 electron. I'll write down 1. These are cross multiplied, so the symbol of or the formula of magnesium chloride will be MgCl2. All right. Okay. Now, if I say that what is the formula of calcium oxide? Ca. I'll write on the symbol of calcium, that is Ca. Oxygen is O. Calcium is in group 2, so I'll write on 2. Oxygen is in group 6, so it gains 2 electrons, 2. When you're going to get same numbers, so they will be cancelled. So the formula of calcium oxide will be CaO, right? This is how you could just write down the formula for group 1, group 2, 3, and so on, right? What about transition metals? For transition metals other than zinc, their oxidation numbers, like how many electrons they lose or gain, are going to be written in the Roman form, right? In Roman numbers. Like if I just say that iron 3 oxide, okay, iron 3 oxide. So it means oxidation number of iron is going to be 3. So I'll write on again the symbol of iron is going to be Fe from the periodic table. Oxygen is O. So the oxidation number of iron is going to be 3. Oxygen is in group 6, so it gains 2 electrons. I'll write on 2. Okay. So we're going to cross multiply. So formula of iron 3 oxide is going to be Fe2O3. All right. I hope it's clear. Now, what about like we'll just see that if I have to cancel out any number. So, like for example, iron 4 oxide, right? Again, I'm going to write down symbol of iron is Fe. I'm going to write down oxygen is O. Iron, I'm going to write down over iron 4. Oxygen is going to be group 6, so gains 2 electrons, I write 2. Now, I just have to see, can I cancel these numbers? Yes. Can I simplify these numbers actually? 1 2 is 2, 2 is 4. I will just simplify and I'll just cross multiply and the formula of iron 4 oxide will be FeO2. All right. I hope it's clear. What about zinc? Always remember with you that zinc exists as +2 state. I have to write on the formula of zinc chloride. Okay. So I'm going to consider the oxidation number of zinc as +2. All right. So zinc and chlorine. I will write down over zinc as 2 and I'm going to write down for chlorine as 1. I'll cross multiply, so the formula of zinc chloride will be ZnCl2. All right. I hope it's clear. Now there is one more thing that are going to be polyatomic ions. So for that, you need to learn some like 7 polyatomic ions. That is, sulfate is SO4 minus 2, phosphate is PO4 minus 3, nitrate is NO3 minus, right? Carbonate is CO3 minus 2, ammonium is NH4 plus, and hydroxide is going to be OH minus. Okay. And there is one more ion, that is sulfite, SO3 minus 2. This is sulfate and this is sulfite. Okay. Now, how you need to memorize which of these polyatomic ions, and then with that, how are you going to write down the formula? Okay. So for that, for example, I have to write down the formula of ammonium. Suppose I have to write in the formula of ammonium phosphate. Both are the polyatomic ions, right? So I'm going to write down their symbols. So ammonium is going to be NH4, right? Phosphate is going to be PO4. I'm going to write down over ammonium as it's +1, I write down 1. Phosphate is -3, I write down 3. Now, NH4 will be multiplied by 3. Now, whenever you're just multiplying any polyatomic ion, you need to write on this in the bracket and then you have to multiply. Okay, because it doesn't mean that, like, if you just write down like N3H4 H12, no, actually you are just going to multiply full, like, this ion, polyatomic ion, with a number, right? So therefore I'm going to write an NH4 in the bracket and I'm going to multiply it by 3. All right, and PO4 is going to be multiplied by 1, so I'm going to write on PO4. That's it. So formula of ammonium phosphate will be NH4 thrice PO4. All right, I hope it is clear. Now, similarly, like, suppose I have to write down the formula of aluminium phosphate. So I'll write down aluminium phosphate. You have to write down the formula of aluminium. Let's write down aluminium sulfate. Okay. So I have to write down the symbol of aluminium, that is going to be Al. So I will write down Al. Sulfate is SO4. I have to write down, like, aluminium is in group 3, so I'm going to write down 3 over aluminium. Sulfate is -2, I write down 2. Aluminium will be multiplied by 2 and SO4 will be multiplied by 3. So formula of aluminium phosphate will be Al2 SO4 thrice. Okay. Now I'll be assigning some questions that you could write down their formula. And then in the next class, in the next video, we are going to discuss about chemical equations, writing balanced chemical equations, and also writing and ionic equations, right? So I hope that was fruitful. Thank you.